to spend a few minutes just looking at the tricky, sensitive subject of forgiveness. How to forgive someone or some people, why we should do it, and what's to be gained out of doing this. I mean, how many people out there have not forgiven someone and they've held a grudge, they've perpetuated a difference of opinion, an argument, maybe some injustice, and they've perpetuated that for years and years. Maybe in some cases it's for centuries, where nations just cannot get on and forever hate each other. Well, today we're going to take just a few minutes. We're going to jam a whole day workshop into just a few quick minutes and look at some of the simple steps of forgiveness. This is the 80-20 rule of forgiveness, where you get most of your gain from a handful of things, and all the other things are incremental and ultimately improve the outcomes, but these are some of the essential things. Now, number one, don't compromise your values. Now, this doesn't mean you don't have to give something up or hand something back or say you're sorry or whatever, but don't compromise the real DNA of yourself, the principles, the values that shape who you are. This is really important. And number two is, do the best for others. Most people, when they're relating to others, when they're talking to others, when they're working out who gets what and all that sort of stuff, adopt a common principle. And it's a well-known principle, and it goes like this: what's in it for me? That governs most people's thinking. It shapes their decisions, it shapes their attitudes, it shapes how they get on with other people, and ultimately it shapes history. But is that really the best way to go about things? I mean, seriously? Is that the best way to go? How about if we did something really utterly radical? We turned that around and said, what's in it for others? Maybe we could look at the whole issue, whatever it might be, from someone else's perspective, from their point of view. It's going to reshape, it's going to change the way we think, it's going to change the way we process, and it's going to change decisions. Now, number three, and really important, is that in any act of forgiveness, any approaches to forgive or be forgiven, you have to be sincere. You have to be real. People can see through fakes really quickly. They can see through trickery and all that sort of stuff in a flash. So whatever we do, whenever we're approaching a difficult situation where we've been wronged, or maybe we've wronged someone else, and we're trying to set it right, whatever happens, we have to be sincere, absolutely honest with ourselves and with those that we're relating to. Number four, we have to play the long game. That means simply, it's not what happens today or tomorrow or next week. Because as we discussed earlier briefly, some feuds and arguments go on seemingly forever. We have to play the long game. Sometimes we've got to give stuff up. Sometimes we've got to let things go. Sometimes we've got to make amends. It might mean paying for something. It might mean handing something over or surrendering something. But the long game means that ultimately, eventually, there will be a better outcome. There will be a better relationship. There will be friendships restored or made or improved because we've looked at it from a long-term perspective. We haven't worried about what's in my pocket today, or what assets I have today, or how I feel today, how my ego's been wounded or whatever today. We look at the long-term game. Number 5, and lastly, and this is important too, be the first mover. This means that we make the approach. It means we step out first. It means we don't wait forever, maybe, for someone else to come along and say, I'm sorry. That might never happen. And who knows how many stubborn people who have pig-headed attitudes or whatever sit around forever waiting for someone else to approach them first, because after all it was their fault. They caused it. It's not my fault. Why should I apologise? Why should I forgive? It's all their fault. Hey, there's a lot of benefit in being the first mover, in being the one who steps up and says, I don't know whether I was wrong in this matter or not. Maybe I was, maybe I wasn't, maybe we were both to blame, but can we make it right? Can we come together and sit down and talk about this and make amends? Can we improve this situation? Can we restore relationships? Can we restore assets if that's what it means? Can we restore friendships? These are 5 very simple steps that will go a long way towards being forgiven and forgiving. They will go a long way towards restoring relationships, towards making things right again. It will take a lot of pressure off a situation and ourselves personally. These are steps that work. I'm Neil Finlay, and this is the Mentor's Diary.